shifting, therefore.
Kadosh Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Zevachim, Daf Nun He Amud Aleph 55a1. We're starting the Gemara. If you remember yesterday, we finished with the Mishnah. And now we're starting with the Gemara. So in the Mishnah, we were talking about Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur and then Ashamot. You remember we brought down that there were going to be 6 different types of Ashamot. So we brought down whether it's going to be the Asham Gezelot, Asham Meilot, Asham Shichachuva, Asham Manzir, Asham Metzorah, Asham Talui. So we said the same halachot by all of them. That the shechita is always going to be done in the north. The receiving of the blood is always going to be with the klei sharet in the north. It needs 2, which becomes 4. It's going to be eaten inside of the curtains of Jerusalem for any male kohen. Are you listening? For a male kohen. Yeah, lechol ma'achal, any type of a food that you want, whether it's going to be roasted, fried, cooked, anything. Right? Liyom valayla for day and nighttime, which means the same day of the shechita plus that night. However, though, we come and we say that it's going to be until Chatzot. What does it mean until Chatzot? Until Chatzot means until Chatzot in the nighttime, which means that even though you've got usually until Alot HaShachar, which is dawn, Chachamim were strict that you do it until Chatzot. Very good. Says the Gemara.
Where are you holding now?
Gemara. Nun Hey Amud Aleph 55a on the top.
55?
Yes.
That's tomorrow's.
Yes, 100% as always, Richard. Mena lan de Bayit Safon. How do we know that you need the north for the Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur and Ashamot? Remember, Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur is Shlamim. Shalmet Tzibur, Shlamim. Shlamim is a peace offering. And the Ashamot are guilt offerings, but each one was different because there were 6 different types of guilt offerings. Right? Open up the Gemara. Yeah? So says the Gemara, the Tani Rabba Bar Chanan Kameh de Rava. We start Rabba Bar Chanan in front of Rava. V'asitem tzidizim echal lechatat. He says, Ushnech vasim neshanal zevach shlamim. So there's a kesh. People like doing a kesh. So he says here, Ikisha Torah kivsei shlamim to seir chatat. So the chatat is like the shlamim. Just like the chatat is in the tzafon. And how do you know the chatat is in the tzafon?
All the kadosh and the holy ones are done in the north.
How do you know that the chatat is from the north? No. Because you learn it from an olah. Chazak Baruch. Yeah, you learn it from the olah. Meaning, where is it written that you have to do it in the north? Because it says, Safona lifnei Hashem by the olah. The olah says in the north. And we learned that the chatat has to be in the same place as the olah. Because it says, V'shachat et chatat bimkom ha'olah. In the same place as the olah. So therefore, the chatat is learned from the olah. Right? And that you learn because it's going to be from the same place. So just like the olah is going to be in the north, the chatat is going to be in the north. Now the shlamim is a kesh, juxtaposition, close proximity to the hatat. Capish? This is, you have to breathe this already. This is already 50 days into this. Yeah? So says the Gemara, right? Just like the chatat is in the tzafon, so to Shabbat Tzibur in the tzafon. Amal le Rava, Rava says, V'chi chatat me'echad lamda. Where did you learn the chatat from? From the olah. V'chi davar alameh be'kesh. Choser umlameh be'kesh. The famous question we had a few days ago. If you learn a hekesh, the olah, the chatat from the olah. If you learn from a hekesh, the hatat from the olah, after you learn one thing from a hekesh, can you learn another hekesh from another hekesh? That's the Gemara is asking. Usually we said no. You can't. אתה לא יכול להקיש אחרי להקיש. אנשים אוהבים לעשות היקש, היקש, היקש. בדיוק. אלא but rather, מדתני רב מרי ברד רב כהנא, it says in the pasuk, וביום שמחתכם ובמועדיכם ובראשי חודשכם ותקעתם בחצוצרות על עולותיכם ועל זבחי שלמיכם. There, right there, we made a kesh, right, between the Shalmet Tzibur and the Olah. So just like the Olah is Kodesh Kadashim, so too Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur is Kodesh Kadashim. So just like the Olah is in the north, so too Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur is going to be in the north. Everyone just understood what we did? We did something beautiful. Instead of going to the Hekesh, to the Chatat, one more time, we're in the Shlamim, Shalmet Tzibur. Instead of going there and getting it from the Chatat, but the Chatat was also learned from the Olah. So what we did was, we went directly to the Olah. So we took the Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur, and we went directly to the Olah, just like the Olah is going to be in the north. Right? So basically, you understand what we did? Instead of going here, here's the Zivchei Shalmet Tzibur, here's the Chatat, and here's the Olah. So instead of going like this, to the chatat, and then from the chatat to the olah, it's a double. You can't do that, but it's a kesh to a kesh. You can't do that. So what do? We took the zivchei shalmin tzibur, and we went all the way up to the olah. I mean, AC. Exactly. That's what we did. To the, yeah, that's what we just said. One more time. Yom simchatchem moadechem, uvrashech chodshechem k'tzibur al olotechem ve'al zivchei shalmechem. So I just did olah ve'zivchei shlamim. So therefore, just like the olah is going to be in the north, so too zivchei shlamim is going to be in the north. So therefore, now I don't have the question anymore about ekesh, chozer ve'ekesh. You don't have it anymore. So says the Gemara, Ela ekesha kamay lemayata. If the hekesh rishon was the kivsei atzeret to the chatat, so why do I need it then? If I was able to go from A to C, that's what the doctor said, right? You have A, B, C. Olah is the A, chatat is the B, and then zivchei shalmei tzibur is the C. If I was able to go the C to the A, basically, like A and C, connect them together, why did I do then the C to the B? Why do I need the B? Right? To be or not to be? Put your phone in the middle. Right now.
אבל זה לא מתקשר רק לראש השנה, כאילו?
לא, זה לא קשור. זהו ביום שמחתו במועדיכם. מה? לא הבנתי.
ראש השנה
So says the Gemara, Ki chatat, I did need to make it to the chatat. Why? Just like the chatat, אין הנאכלת לזכרי כהונה, אף זבחי שלמי ציבור לזכרי כהונה. The olah is eaten? No. So therefore, I cannot learn anything from the olah to do with who eats it. So therefore, the certain characteristics I take to the chatat. The chatat is eaten only by zichrei cheuna. So the first time around that we mentioned zichrei cheuna, I had people telling me that it's remembrances and that it's I don't know what zecharim, zichrei cheuna. Yeah, zichrei cheuna are the males of the kohanim. That means only the males can eat from these sacrifices and not the females of the kohanim. Okay. So Amalei Abaye, so Abaye comes in here, says the following: if so, Gabe El Nazir. What about the Ail, the El Shlamim of the Nazir? Tichtiv, it's written, meaning when the Nazir finishes his Nazirut. Remember, Nazirut and Nazir is in his Nazarite, right? The person that accepts upon himself not to cut his hair, to become Tamemet, to drink wine, to become Tamemet. So he says here, Gabe El Nazir is written, V'ikriv korbanon LaHashem. Kevez ben shenatot tamim michal leolah, v'kavsa achad ben shenatat tamim lechatat, v'ele echad tamim l'shlamim. So there you have all of them together. You've got the olah, hatat, and the shlamim. Hachanami name, are you going to tell me now the kisha katuv lechatat that made a kesh for the chatat that just like the chatat is only zichrei una, so too the el nazir is only going to be zichrei una? Now we know that it's not true. Why? Because the el nazir is eaten by everybody. So if the el nazir, which means the nazir offering, is eaten by everybody, so you can't tell me now that it's only for zichrei una. Now 1 second, but it brought all three of them together. It brought the olah, chatat, and el nazir, the shlamim, all together. So now if you're going to tell me that it was made a kesh, the juxtaposition in order to teach you who's eating it, that's incorrect. It's a false pretense. Why? Because at the end of the day, everybody's allowed to eat El Nazir.
There's a pasuk.
Yeah. So he says, but rather, Hachi Ashta, he says, can you compare both cases? Hatam dichtiv, there by the pasuk, it's written, V'lakacha kohen et zura b'shelaminayim, mikra dekule ba'alim achlele. So it's mashma that the ba'alim are going to eat all the basad. So there it's a pasuk mefurash. So you're right. If it's a pasuk mefurash, there's nothing more to talk about. But if there's no pasuk, then $5. Yeah.
What he gets a horror.
Yeah. So he says, Zroa beshela miha. Yeah. He says, Zroa beshela miha lo litachil. However, though, right, it's not going to be eaten. The Zroa beshela is given to the Kohanim. Ela lezichrei cheuna. So that's only going to be for the zichrei cheuna, right? So he says, right, but is that so? Right, because we know that it's going to be eaten for everybody. Linshehem livnehem ulavdehem. Mazel linshehem livnehem ulavdehem. Linshehem is to their wives. Livnehem to their children. Right? Lavdavka sons. If you only say benehem, it's only boys. Livnehem to their children. Ulavdehem and to their slaves. So he says, but rather, מה? כן, פה זה כן, זה לינשהם, to their wives. לינשהם.
שאתה אומר לבניהם.
אז כשאני אומר לך, יש לך בנים, ולאו דווקא רק זכרים, ודאי שלא. כמה בנים יש לך?
זה חידוש.
It's always like that. How many children do you have? Banim is also children. לאו דווקא בנות. אני לא שואל אותך כמה בנים ובנות יש לך, ואז אתה אומר, יש לי 3 בנים, 4 בנים.
עכשיו 10 אנשים, ask 10 people, how many בנים you have, you're gonna tell you only the בנים.
That's not the way that it is.
Okay, just...
By the way, you should know in Spanish and also French, I'm not sure how it works, but for sure in Spanish, that's the way it works as well. Right? Niños, in plural, is children. It's lav dafka boys. Meaning, if you only have girls, yeah, you have niñas. If you have boys and girls, so now it's niños. Okay, אבל זה כמה בנים יש לך. אין ילדים בתורה. בתורה זה לא ילדים, זה בנים. אוקיי, אז זה מה שאני אומר לך. אז אני מלמד אותך.
This is the last one.
Okay, fine. So says the Gemara, Kashya, באמת, this is a good question. Yeah. Why? Because it's a good question. If you want, you could say, Kodshe ikre, Kodshe kadashim lo ikre, which means you have another answer. Zroa beshela by the El Nazir is called Kodesh, but it's not Kodshe kadashim. So since it's not Kodshe kadashim, so you cannot learn to anything else from it. So then why do you have a Hekesh then? Rava says, Shim gilach alachat mishloshtan yatzai dechovato, which means that what happens if you only brought one of these korbanot? And then you went and you did the tiglachat. You went to the haircut. And you took a barber and you did it. So even though you didn't bring the other 2 korbanot, because there's 3 korbanot. You have olah, chatat, shlamim. Let's say you only did one of them. And then you went and you took a haircut. Enough. So it's already going to be better enough. You were Yitzhak Chovah, and therefore you don't have to do it again, basically. So therefore it's going to be okay. Says the Mishnah, Nun Amud Aleph, the Mishnah. Hatodah. What is a todah? To say thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, to say thank you. You heard?
The shlamim.
Yeah. Right, so the todah it's a korban shlamim, yes, which comes with a mincha. No, a shlamim is a shlamim, but the todah is a form of a shlamim. Yeah,
which means how long you can eat it for at the end of night. You know what I mean?
100%. It's a Rambam. The Rambam says, "V'zot torat zevach hashlamim." So therefore, it's considered a shlamim. Okay? So he comes and he says now like this. He says, Ve'el Nazir. Now the El Nazir is also a shlamim. Yeah? So the Todah, the El Nazir. Remember, the El Nazir is the ram of a Nazir that he finished his Nazirut. Right? Kadashim Kalim. These are considered Kadashim Kalim, and therefore there's no Mi'ilah with them. Remember, there's only Mi'ilah. Mi'ilah means you're not allowed to benefit from Kodshim. So Mi'ilah only applies to Kodshe Kadashim, not Kadashim Kalim. Yeah. This is Kadashim Kalim. Shechitatan, remember, Kodshe Kadashim is Shechitatan Batzafon. It's always in the north. Right here, since it's Kadashim Kalim, Shechitatan Bechol Makom Ba'azara. Can you put it on the table? Yeah, he says the Shechita is Bechol Makom Ba'azara. מה זה בכל מקום בעזרה? ודמן טעון 2 מתנות שהן 4. Right? So it's anywhere in the zara. Anywhere in the zara you could come and you could do the shchita to these korbanot. Plus, daman ta'un 2 matanot שהן 4. Right? Whenever you're sprinkling on the mizbeach, it's 2 which is going to become 4. Remember, you're doing it on the 2 corners, and the 2 corners is going to go to the other 2. So that's why it becomes 2, which becomes 4. You're allowed to eat it inside the walls of Jerusalem. Right? As long as it's inside of the walls of Jerusalem, it doesn't have to be lifnim min haklaim. Lifnim min haklaim means inside the curtains, which means in the azara. Here it's inside the walls of Jerusalem. Lechol adam, for any human being, which means that even if he's not a Kohen or anything, Israel. Bechol ma'achal. Bechol ma'achal always means
anywhere in Jerusalem.
No,
anybody can eat it.
That was what is bechol ma'achal? Yes.
Slave.
What is bechol ma'achal? Oh, here it says L'chol Adam Yisrael. It doesn't say a goy. I don't think it could be a goy. But okay, I don't think so. It says here L'chol Adam Yisrael. Ken, אבל עולה, רק עולה.
Oh, you're right.
Only an עולה. Only an עולה. The goy could only eat an עולה. The goy could only bring an עולה. And because everything is consumed.
They can't eat nothing from them.
They cannot eat anything.
Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you.
No problem. Always, Richard. Bechol ma'achal. What is bechol ma'achal? No, we mentioned it 20 times already. What does that mean?
Pleasing aroma.
Very good. Any way how you cook it, not any food.
Right. Only the Pesach has to
It's a
be
basar. What do you mean any food? Legumes.
You could boil it.
Exactly. You could boil, you could fry, you could roast, you could cook, you could bake, you could do whatever you want with it. Bechol ma'achal. In any way you do it. You say it every single
Prepared
morning.
in any manner. I see it.
גם הוא לא אמר.
Dale. Apúrate.
Liyom v'layla. For day and night time. Right? Remember that you do the day of the shechita. Right? V'layla. כן, לילה יש כאלה שלא... עד חצות. He says until חצות. המורם מהם. What does that mean? Matanot HaKeuna, which are going to be separated from them, which is basically the Chazeh Shok HaYamin of the Zevach Todah and the Chazeh Shok Vazruah VaYaminit, right? V'Trumat HaMenachot Imahem, right? Is Kayotze Bahem, or like the Todah VeNazid themselves, which means that they're going to be eaten B'cholai B'chol Ma'achal Yom Chalitzot. Ela Shemuram Ne'echal, but the difference is going to be that these Matanot Keuna are going to be eaten LaKohanim Linshehem V'Livnehem, right? הבנים הקטנים והבנות. תסתכל שם מה שכתוב לך, על לבניהם.
לא, אני מאמין לך.
אוקיי, אבל אני רק אומר לך. אבל בגלל זה אני פה בשביל ללמד אותך. ולבדיהם. אוקיי? ולבדיהם. מה זה לבדיהם? הכנענים. Right, but not זרים. Only for לבדיהם is עבד כנעני, but not a regular goy. אוקיי, אבל לא לזרים. Okay, until here we're clear? That was the next Mishnah. Okay? Very good. Doctor, yeah? Okay, very good. תנו רבנן, we learned in a Braita. את חזה התנופה ואת שוק התרומה תאכלו במקום טהור. So the חזה התנופה and the שוק התרומה, right? It's basically the shok. The shok is the thigh of the animals, the korbanot hashlamim, right? You have to come and you have to eat it in makom tahor. What does that mean? That it's not tameh. Amar Rabbi Nechemia v'chi rishonim, what the sirich hatat and the mincha and everything, b'tumah chlum, what they eat in tumah. Meaning what? It's only this shlamim. It's only this that you have to eat it with ta'ara, not the other ones. Ela, but rather when it says makom tahor, miklal shehu tameh. It is tameh in something. How does it mean? Tahor mitumat mitzora v'tameh mitumat zav. He says, no. It's tahor from a mitzora, but it's tameh from a zav. Ve'ez is it? What are you talking about then? Machane Yisrael. Right? What does that mean? In the Machane Yisrael, you cannot have a mitzora. The mitzora is vishalechu min machane. You have to send them from all the camps. Right? The mitzora, right? Exactly, like Miriam. Right? The mitzora had to be outside of all three camps. Machane Kuna, Machane Levia, Machane Yisrael. It has to be outside. But a zav could be in Machane Yisrael. Yes, in Acharami. Yeah, it's a lower level of a tumah. The zav. Remember, the zav is the person that has seminal discharge, right? When the eved is dead. Okay, so therefore, right, what happens here is that he says it's going to be tahor, but it is still tameh. So it's tahor mitumat metzorah, but it's going to be tameh mitumat zav. What place is that? Machane Yisrael. So you could eat it in Machane Yisrael. That's what we're saying, right? No Machane Yehuda, Machane Yisrael. Yeah. Ve'ema. So says the Gemara tahor mitumat zav. V'tum'ah v'tameh mitumat met. V'zezeh machane levia. Why don't I go up a level? Why don't I say that it's going to be tahor mitumat zav, and it's going to be tameh from tumat met, which is levia? Is a levia allowed to become tameh met? Is a levia allowed to become tameh met? You're a tuki. Whatever he says, you can answer. מה אתה אומר?
הוא הולך לבית ברות וזה.
ודאי, לווים תמיד.
הולכים.
ודאי. ודאי. There's no problem. Right? He's fine. Like so he says, so maybe that's a pshat. Maybe when we say that there's going to be a little bit of tahor and tameh, of course they can. A Levi is allowed to go to the cemetery. It's only a Kohen that's not allowed to go. Yeah? So what happens is that over here, right, when it says tahor, maybe it's tahor from tumat zav. And when it says tameh, it's tumat met. So it's not about Machane Yisrael. Maybe you could only eat in Machane Levia. Remember, Machane Levia, there were two Machanes, right? There were three Machanes. Machane Kiuna, which you had the Kodshim, right? You had the Mishkan and everything, and you had Machane Kiuna. Then you had Machane Levia, and you had Machane Yisrael. So why are you telling me that it's a Machane Israel, and Machane Israel is going to be Tahor from Tumat Metzorah, and Tameh from Tumat Zav? Maybe you go up a level. Maybe it's Tahor mi Tumat Zav, and Tameh from Tumat Met. What is that? Machane Levia. Everyone with me or not? Yeah?
Rabbi is Levi.
Yes. So Amar Abaye comes and he says, Amar Kra, the Pasuk says already, V'achaltem otah b'makom kadosh, otah b'makom kadosh, lo acheret b'makom kadosh. Which means you have to, when it says otah means only it and not something else. So it's only the mincha which is Kodesh Kodashim, you have to eat them in Makom Kadosh, but not the actual Korban in itself, right? Ve'apka lemachane leviyah, right? So now I just minimize it to machane leviyah. And then again, when it says again, had aktiv b'makom tahor, so apka lemachane Yisrael means to be like this. I've got the machane kiuna, or where the Kohanim are. Then you go down a level to Leviim. Then you go down one more level to Yisraelim. Machane Yisrael. So you go Machane Yisrael, Machane Leviyah, Machane Kiuna. The first time around when it says B'makom Ota, B'makom Kadosh, Ota means it. What is it? We're referring to the mincha, the flour offering, which was brought with the korban. So only the flour offering, which is a mincha, has to be eaten in a makom kadosh. The other one doesn't. So if it doesn't, which is the korban, I just brought it down from the machane kiuna to machane leviyah. But now again it said it again, right? Again it said b'makom tahor. So when I said it second time around again b'makom tahor, I brought it from machane leviyah to machane Yisrael. Yeah, because each time I brought it down a level. Okay? Rava comes and he says, Otam makom kadosh lo acher b'makom kadosh, apka legamre. You took it out completely, right? Which means that completely that you could eat it anywhere, even outside of Jerusalem. Hadaktiv rachmana, but then the Torah says tochlu b'makom kadosh. You brought it up to the machane Yisrael. So basically, there's two different opinions. One more time, either it's that it starts up here in machane kiuna. I brought it down because of otah to machane leviyah. And then again, b'makom kadosh, I brought it down to the Machane Yisrael. Or when you come and you tell me, Ota b'makom kadosh, b'makom kadosh, I took it directly from the kiuna to outside, that you don't even need Machane Yisrael. You could eat it outside of Jerusalem. Now, when it says the second time around, Tochlu b'makom tahor, I brought it back up to Machane Yisrael, which means it has to be inside of Jerusalem. Ve'ema, so ask the Gemara, maybe I'm going to bring it up to Machane Leviyah. So says the Gemara, lechadam, you only bring it up once. You can't bring it up twice. I mean, you can't jump steps. You can't go from nothing to Leviyah. You could go from nothing to Machane Yisrael, or Machane Yisrael to Leviyah. Leviyah to Kibbutz. You could only go one. Okay? So Yahachi, so Apikurami. So too, when you're getting out, also you could only go down one. Meaning it made sense the first opinion of Abaye. Because Abaye said from Kiuna you're going to Leviyah, and Leviyah you're going down to Yisrael. But when we said the other Shita, which is Rava, that from Kiuna you went down completely, and then I said it again to bring it up one. So how did I go down two? How did I jump down? I jumped down so many steps. So he says, Apu kenami, and furthermore, lo tuchal le'echol b'sharecha. It's written that you can't eat it in your gates. So you're right. We disproved Rava, and we go back to the answer of Abaye. You're right. Because of this question, we disproved Rava, and we go back to the answer of Abaye. Until here, we're clear. Okay, next. Mishnah, Nunhe Amud Aleph, the second Mishnah now. Okay? Says the Mishnah, Shlamim, Kadashim Kalim. Shlamim is Zivche Shlamim or Kadashim Kalim. Shechita the Mokom Azra, the Shechita is going to be any place in the Azra. Taman Tawun Shleman Don Shleman Ba. Remember, when you're sprinkling the blood, it's going to become two, which are going to become four. And you could eat it in the entire city of Jerusalem within the walls. Lechol Adam for any Israeli. Not even Kohanim, b'chol ma'achal, in any way that you want it cooked. Here you have 2 days and a night, right? That means you've got 2 days and a night. It's almost like a hotel. Yeah, he says amuram mehem, which is basically anything which is going to be given as a present from them, which is going to be the chazeh shok, which are given to the Kohanim. That's hamuram, right? The one that's like above them, right? Muram is like something ram, something above, so something that goes up. So he says lishnei yamim kayotze b'hem. It's going to be the same way. Shamuram, ela shamuram ne'echal lakohanim shivim livnim of dehem, but it's going to be eaten by the kohanim, by their wives, by their children, and their evdei kenanim. Tanu Ramadan, we learned the Braita. Okay, this is, by the way, what we're reading is mamash. We read this every single morning in Korbanot. Okay, fine. Tanu Ramadan, we learned the Braita. Ushchato petach ol moed. It says that you're going to do shechita at the entrance of the ol moed. Now it says v'shechatoto lifnei moed, and it also says by the shlamim. Also, the third one also says v'shechatoto lifnei ol moed. Meaning, since it's at 3 different times, it says that you could do the shchita at the entrance of the Ol Moed. So therefore, it's going to come and tell you that in any entrance, in any way, or any direction where you're going to do it, it's going to be kosher. Okay, but that's what they learned 3 different times, that it's written that you're going to do the shchita. Okay, so kal vachomer letzafon. So kal vachomer, you could do it in the north, which means like this. I only have 3. There's 4 directions. So how do I know about the north? I mean, you could do it south, east, west. How do you know you could do it in the north? So he says, Kavachomer. He says, just like the Kodesh Kodashim is only kosher in the north and not kosher in any other direction, kadashim kalim, that it is kosher in the direction, kavachomer is going to be kosher in the north. So that's why I didn't need 4 times. Because the north is a kavachomer. The north, for sure, you could do it in the north. The question is, can you do it in the other direction? So you have 3 different times written to do the shchita, the entrance to the Ol Moed, in order to do it. Rabbi Eliezer says, Lo ne'emar hakatuv l'achshi betzafon. The pasuk purposely said it to permit you in the north. He says, why? I would have thought to say it's a kavachomer. שיכול ולא דינו. מה קדשים קלים שהושעו בכלל לא הושעו מקומן, אצל קודשי קדושי קדושים שלא הושעו אלא בצפון, אין שלא הושעו מקומן, right? Which means, אצל קדשים קלים. So תלמוד לומר, אור מועד. When it comes to teach you this entire concept, it's coming to teach you that you're allowed to do it in the north. Why? I had a kavachomer. If Kadashim Kalim is going to be kosher in any direction, right? But it's not going to be permitted, the Kodesh Kodashim. So he says, Kodesh Kodashim, so he says, Kodesh Kodashim, which were only permitted in the north. So shouldn't it be that that's the only place where it's going to be kosher? And the Kadashim Kalim, you can't do it there? That you're allowed to do it in the north. Right? Nun Hamud Bet, 55b.
It's a lousy Calvin.
Okay. So says the Gemara, so then what is the machloket then between them now? What is the machloket between Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer? Right? At the end of the day, everybody holds that you're allowed to do it in the tzafon. The only thing is, do you learn it from a drash or do you learn it from a kal v'chomer? That's the only question, right? But according to everybody, they hold the same halacha. So answers the Gemara, Tanakama savar tlata k'aktivit. According to Tanakama, there are 3 psukim written. One for itself, because you have to know that you're able to do it in the Petach Moed. One of them to do the 2 different sides, right? That's the tzadin, right? And one of them lifsol tzidet tzadin, to prohibit the tzidet tzadin, right? So look in the picture on the bottom. Everyone has a picture on the bottom? Hello? Look at the picture on the bottom. In the picture on the bottom, you've got, I've got an Aleph, Bet, and Dalet, Gimel, Dalet. But some people have A, B, C, D. Yeah, okay, so you have A, B, C, D. So, Aleph.
Put the phone down.
No, I check.
Dios mío.
You guys listening? Aleph is Mula Petach. The A is opposite the entrance of the Echal. Everyone sees the Echal?
The small the diagram or the big one?
The big diagram. Where do you see small? That one, the one on the left. The one on the art scroll part, on the bottom.
No.
Yeah? So, the Alephs, or the A's, right? The Alephs or the A's are Mula Petach. That's opposite the entrance of the Echal. Everyone is with me?
Yeah.
Opposite, okay, fine. The Tzadin are the bets. So the bets, or the B's, are teaching you the sides. Tzidet Tzadin is the Gimel Dalet. But it's a machlok between Rashi and Tosfot. Gimel is Tzidet Tzadin, the side of the sides, or meaning C or D. Or D is behind. So those are Tzidet Tzadin. That means you're only allowed to do the Shchita only in the A's and B's, but not in the CDs. No CDs. No, it's only machloke where is Tzidet Tzadin, but it's not. But for according to everybody, you can't do Tzidet Tzadin. That's what you just said.
Well, sorry, that maybe it's not the best question, but the altar is where they used to do the shchita, right?
No.
No, that's the actual offering.
Yes.
And so the shchita could be in these areas.
Yes, exactly.
But inside the chal,
Nobody would do a shchita there.
not shchita, but there would be another small.
Yeah, the small altar, but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. These are all things which are done in the outer mizbeach, not in the inner mizbeach.
But what's the inyan that you're not allowed to do in C and D?
C and D, you're not allowed to do the.
Why?
You're not allowed to what?
Why?
Because the pasuk says that you're allowed to do shchita. So when the pasuk says you're allowed to do shchita, where are you allowed to do shchita? So we already know from the olah you have to do it in the north. The chata you learn from the olah. The asham you learn from the olah, right? But now, what about now the kadashim kalim? So kadashim kalim, you're allowed to do it any place in the azara. So when we say any place in the azara, it's A and B. But when it says so many times that where you're allowed to do it, it's coming to exclude something. So it's coming to exclude C and D.
D is like an entrance, no?
Yeah. Okay. But on the side, okay? So says the Gemara, right? So the north, you don't need a pasuk. Rabbi Eliezer says, one of them you need for itself. Right? Because remember, it's written 3 times. Right? So one of them you need for itself, that he has to be Petach Omoed, which is the A. One of them to permit the north. And one to permit the sides, which is the B's, right? Or the bets. That's it. For sure, you don't even need pasuk bichlal. Okay? So says the Gemara, what's the difference between the Petach Ol Moed, the entrance, or Lifne Ol Moed, before the Ol Moed? What's the difference between the entrance and before the Ol Moed? I don't know. It says Petach and then it says Lifnei. So Kamashmanan comes teach you Yehudim and Shmuel. Shmuel, Shlamim Shechatan Kol Shiftechu Delatot HaEchal Psulin. He says if you're going to come and you're going to do the shchita of the shlamim before they open up the doors of the Echal, it's pasul. שנאמר בזה זה פסוק ושחטו פתח ולמועד. בזמן שהוא פתוח, לא בזמן שהוא, only when it's open, not when it's closed. So that's what it means. That's why it's coming to teach you the concept of petach ולמועד. Petach ולמועד means that the doors have to be open, but even if it's going to be, right, and that's what we're trying to say, that if it's going to be closed, right, so then it's going to be a problem. Yes? Everyone's with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Itmar Nami was also stated. Amar Maruk Varbacham Amar Yosef Chanina Shlamim Shechatan Kodesh Betuchol Dolatot Echad Psulin. If you do the shlamim, the slaughter it before they open up the doors of the Echal, it's going to be pasul. Shneimar Ushchato Petach Moed. But you do to do shchita by the entrance of the Moed. Bizman Petach Patuach. Only if the entrance of the Echal is going to be patuach. Velo Bizman Shu Naul. Marava Matzanet Hachi. In the Marava in Eretz Yisrael they taught it like this. Amar Rav Yaakov Bar. Right, Acha says Rav Yaakov Bar Acha Amar Ravashi Shlamim Shechatan Kodem Sheftechu Deltot HaEchal Psulim. When you have shlamim that they do the shchita before they open up the doors of the Echal, it's going to be pasul. Mishkan Kodem Sheyamidu Levim et Mishkan before they actually set up the Mishkan. Lachash Shifraku Levim et Mishkan Psulim. But or after they took it down, it's going to be pasul. So says the Gemara. Now that we just learned that the doors have to be open, and if it's not open, it's going to be pasul. Pshita mugaf kenaul dami. So if it's already going to be closed, so that's kilu that it's locked. Vilon mai. What about the halacha though? If they put a vilon on it, which means is that considered that? It means they have like a curtain. Is that considered that the doors are closed or the doors open? It's like the vilon itself is only making it like it's an end. It's like open, meaning that it's only done for tzniut, but it's no. Yeah, it's privacy. It's tzniut, but it's not really that it's closed. Kova mai. What about the height? So he says, Tashma the Tanya Yehuda Omer, Shne Pishpeshin you Bet Chalifot. Do you know that the Bet Chalifot, they had two different Pishpeshin, so two different entrances. Right? Vegova, you see in the picture on the bottom of the Pishpesh. The Pishpesh is on the back side of B. Everyone sees it? The back side of B. Yeah, so send it. So he says, Gova Mai. So Tashma the Tanya Yehuda, Shne Pishpeshin you Bet Chalifot. Right? Vegova Shmonai, it was 8 amot high. כדי להכשיר את ההזלה כולה, and not be מכשיר the entire הזלה לאחרי קודשי קודשים, לשחיטה קודשי כלים. My love, are we not talking about now the Ika that you're going to have kamayu shmona, that in front of the pishpeshim you already have 8 amot in order, so therefore it's mefurash that it is going to be considered a mechitza. So he says no, the gavihe inu shmona, that the pishpeshim itself was 8 amot. So Meitve, we're going to ask the question, it says any entrance had 20 amot tall. Right? And it had the width of 10 amot. So answers the Gemara, Pishpeshin was different because Pishpeshin didn't have that. Okay? The Pishpeshin is basically going to be like a side entrance, right? Like a back door. I don't know if you see it over there. Okay? Next. Vaikat Stadin, you got that Stadin. I guess so. So he says, the Patach Lehu Bekeren Zavit. He says it was open in the corner. Ken. זה לצדדי. זה מאחורה. Okay? So he comes and he says that they opened it up, the pishpeshim was open in a keren zavit, in a corner. So achore bet kaporet, what about behind the kodesh kodashim? Yeah? What about behind it? מאחורי הקודש הקודשים. So he comes and he says, Tashma, no, בגלל אחורי הבניין. Remember that if you take the picture of the Bet HaMikdash, behind the building, there was space. No, nobody knew. On behind. כן? לא, לא אנחנו, בסדר, אבל בבית המקדש.
רונן הראה לנו וידאו על זה.
הראיתי לו את האור החיים הקדוש אתמול בלילה, הוא עדיין בהלם. תשמע, so we're going to come and we're going to say the following. דאמר רבי בר יהודה רב, לול קטן היה אחורי בית הכפורת, it was like a right, חלון, a small hole, right behind the בית הכפורת, גבוה 800, כדי להכשיר את העזרה לאכילה קודשי קודשים ולשחק קודשים קלים, זה היינו תכתיב, and that's why it says 2 לפרבר, right, which means 2 שומרים for the פרבר. What is the פרבר? אמר רבי שילה, כמאן דאמר כלפי בר, it's like on the outside, right, it says so כלפי ברבר is like כלפי בר, like towards the outside. ואמר רבי יהודה בן שמואל, says רבי יהודה בן שמואל, right? אין חייבים משום טומאה, you're not going to be חייב טומאה, אלא על אורך 187, unless you're going to have 187 אמות. From from the east to the west. Al Rochav 135 on 135 amot from north to south. Okay, but more than this shetach is not considered the azara, and therefore it's not going to be chayav karet if somebody goes in there in this area. Okay, and we continue with Hashem.